Make just like a scared face real quick. Someone just texted you that they gave you herpes.
A cold sore is herpes.
What?
Ah! What sound you make?
Yeah. You like that?
Okay, now someone just broke up with you via text. Oh. Let me show you how a real professional makes thumbnails. You gotta get into it. You gotta get into it, you know? Or maybe you just like pop up. Like, there's something in there.
There's something in here.
Yes, and it is your loving partner. Roll the opening.
Hello!
Welcome back to
What's Safe Word?
I'm Amp,
I'm Mr. Christopher.
and today
We are being scary? Frightening? What are we doing?
we're talking about our evil exes. Okay, now call your evil ex to the principal's office.
How young are we? Attention all evil exes, please report to the principal's office. Also, whoever parked their car on top of the grass, please move it.
Oh shit, that was me.
Now, breakups are a thing that happen. They happen every day in all of our lives if we are relationship having people, and we learn, I think, some of the most things about ourselves and other people through breakups that happen in relationships.
Yeah, and when people break up, it kind of tends to bring out the worst in them. Breakups don't always have to be bad. However,
When they are
usually
bad, they're bad.
They leave a bad taste in your mouth. Yes.
So somebody in our suggestion thread on our Discord, where we get a lot of ideas, said, talk about your evil exes.
Did they have the evil laugh with it?
No, I just added that because I felt like it.
I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
Please stop talking.
So inspired by the suggestion, I put this post on Twitter. Explosion, please. Asking to describe your evil ex in 4 simple words. And some of you were very creative. So as we go through and react to some of your 4 words describing a bad ex, let's also talk about some of our relationships and maybe what we learned from them.
Okay, and we will change the names of our exes just slightly to protect their identity.
Or will we?
Or will we? Because we're telling this side of the story.
So in typical Scott Pilgrim fashion, let's discuss your evil exes. Do you know who Scott Pilgrim is?
No idea. Was he a pilgrim? Did he come over on the Mayflower?
And the first one from Trash Mom,
Trash Mom?
Trash Mom said, broke up over email.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me be very honest here. I am not condoning that you break up with someone any other way than in person if you can. But in 4th grade, I did have a girlfriend.
Did she know you were gay?
She probably does now. And I did break up with her via text only because we went to different schools and we didn't see each other like ever because we like met on like Catholic school trips.
Sounds like a great relationship.
She was lovely, didn't work out, but don't break up over email. Don't break up over email.
I do feel bad for every girl out there that tried to make a gay man happy before they even knew they were gay.
See, and it's not her fault.
It's not their fault at all. So she's not evil. You're evil.
Oh.
Am I the villain? I don't think I'm the villain.
You're not supposed to take joy in this.
But I love that underneath that, someone else said, Sneakers Boy said, broke up via email. Crypto Pup said, broke up via text. And Miss Jennifer said, broke up via Discord. Oh no, not Discord.
Okay, so this is a thing of your generation because my generation didn't have these things to break up over. We didn't break up over a post, maybe a post-it note.
Oh my God,
We didn't
somehow
have
that's
email.
worse. That is so much more informal or like impersonal.
Well, we have the Dear John letter. That's where the Dear John letter came from. You would write this long letter, I'm leaving you, and you'd leave it on the kitchen table and gone.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry, John.
John.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Just don't do that. Just
Yeah.
don't do that. Okay, the next one from And Who's a Good Boy? Is it me? Is it me, Jesus?
Is it me, Jesus?
And they say, if I didn't have an evil ex, does that make me the evil ex?
It depends on if you've had relationships before and you've broken up. Were they happy? Were they wonderful endings? Did both parties move on into the sunset, happy and content with the relationship they once had?
I'm just gonna say yes. Yes, you're the evil ex. You're the evil ex. Mhm. The next one from Kevin says, Daddy, would you like to read it?
Kevin by design. 1 big, 2 dicked, 3 muscle, 4 bottom. That doesn't sound evil. That sounds like a hot time.
Have you ever had a big dicked muscle bottom?
Oh,
Wait,
yes.
did you just...
Several times.
Next one from Pup Stardew says, we both fucked up.
So you both took responsibility.
And
That's not evil.
No,
That's good.
That's
That's the way it should be.
Everybody is different, and Helix knows that. Today's sponsor is Helix. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Relationships are two sides, and sometimes more if you're in a polyamorous relationship.
Yeah.
But you need to be conscious that sometimes you do fuck up, and while your ex might have been more evil, that doesn't mean that you still aren't at fault for certain things. I've absolutely had relationships before. In fact, this reminds me of one relationship in my very early days of being a gay. In 4 words, I'll describe this relationship as anime porn star gone cheater. That's my relationship. That's the definition of my relationship. Why are you looking at me like that? And I will call him Randy because...
Was he Randy?
Well, he worked for certain porn companies at a very young age to the point where he probably shouldn't have worked with them because he was...
Are you spilling tea right now?
I might be. But what I learned from that relationship, because he was a very young college student, and I mean, we were both of age, but at that time, like, he was clearly having a lot of other fun without me.
Mm-hmm.
And we got along through like the anime that we enjoyed, video games, but it was a very clear case of like, I learned that communication was so important with your relationships. This is one of my first gay relationships. And I also learned a lot about porn and the pitfalls that existed within that community too. So it's kind of interesting that years later I ended up doing some sex work. But that relationship, while fun, ended very toxically because this kid was very strung out and just not healthy. At least for me. Everybody is different and Helix knows that.
So if you're fighting with your partner, check out Helix Sleep, because the mattress, you won't even know they're there. You can sleep.
If you'd seriously like to check out Helix Sleep, though. Now, Helix Sleep has been one of our longest running sponsors here on the channel, and Helix makes it easy for you to find the mattress for you using their Helix Sleep quiz. For you, yourself, or you and a partner. Now, again, you can do for 1 sleeper or 2. Enter in their names, their heights, their weights, as well as sleeping positions. So me and Daddy might have different kinds of sleep positions, maybe even firmness preferences. And if you happen to be like us, who are a little older, we do have body aches and pains that we can also specify. Lord knows my knees will never be the same since COVID. But we ended up with a what, Daddy? A Dusk?
Lux!
And, Daddy, how are you enjoying it?
I love my Dusk Lux. Say that 3 times fast.
Dusk
Lux.
Lux.
Dusk Lux.
Oh,
Dusk Lux.
Yep. And since getting our mattresses, I've actually never had sleep that was this good. I had an old mattress that had some springs in it, and because Helix has springs and this lovely like cushioning sensation, they're not only the best mattress for sex, but they're just the best mattress to get a good night's sleep.
And before I got this mattress, I had my other mattress for over 10 years.
Plus, Helix not only ships to you very, what, Daddy?
Quickly.
And when you're ready to really let it inflate, what do you do, Daddy?
Ooh, it's the opposite of a vacuum rack. It goes.
ASM, are you ready for comfort? If you've ever bought a mattress, there is that nagging sensation of like, ooh, is this the right mattress for me? I don't know if I like this. So we especially like that they have what, Daddy?
100-night sleep trial.
So over 3 months for free that you get to try it out. And if you don't like it, you can ship it back and you get a free refund.
And don't forget, Helix has a 10-year warranty.
And they even offer financing options and flexible payment plans. So if you go to Helix Sleep today and use offer code WAT, you get up to $200 off your mattress and some free pillows on us. So thank you again, Helix Sleep, for making our relationship bouncy, but in the best possible way. Because I, Daddy, and any other partners we've had in between have never slept better.
Even when you're fighting.
Wait, are we fighting?
No.
Oh, okay. Like, can you think of any relationships where you both fucked up?
I believe, like, when I first got into polyamory, I think I got drunk with power and I took on way more than I could chew and wasn't able to keep everyone fulfilled happily. So I take responsibility in that. It ended badly for some and better for others. And I've now tried to bite off manageable pieces.
How would you describe that in 4 words? That's a
Oh, God.
relationship. Drunk with polypower.
More than I could shoot. I could one word.
I could one. Okay, great. Next evil X. This one from Emotional Support says he kept breadcrumbing me. Do you know what breadcrumbing is?
Is that like gaslighting?
Kind of, actually. That's actually very on point. And we've talked about this before, so I'm glad that you kind of remember. Breadcrumbing is the act where like you keep kind of giving people small love bombs or sending flirtatious texts, but with no actual social like committal or signals that you really want to do something. It's a very passive aggressive or just passive love sort of way of where you give someone attention, but you're not really giving them a full amount of your attention.
I do that all the time.
But there's a difference between giving love to someone and leading them on. And this is a very heavy leading on via like digital.
I'm very
sort of-
clear I can't go any further.
Well, at least you're clear. on that,
But I'll give you some breadcrumbs if you want them.
but it's not. It doesn't have to be. You know Hansel and Gretel?
Skittles work too.
Oh my God. Not skittling. That sounds
I
bad.
totally been skittling people all over the place. It's a rainbow of color.
It sounds like you've killed them. Taste the rainbow. Or don't.
Skedaddle.
The next one from Soma the Gamer says, I gave him herpes. Well, I mean,
Come on. You know, this isn't an uncommon thing. People in relationships that have sex out there, some forms of ED do come at play, and you do pass them on to your partner sometimes. And sometimes your partners are going to get upset about that.
true.
But I've also seen partners who have worked through it, even the worst. Like I have very close friends who have been living with HIV for over 25 years in a loving, gorgeous couple that I would emulate as a relationship anytime. But one of them seroconverted because of their partner, and that was a very tough time for them.
But especially with herpes, that affects 1 in 6 people.
Yeah.
So
Herpes is very common.
and while you might not be diagnosed and most people aren't, like many don't even have symptoms even though they have it. And so like I got it from a partner forever ago.
You gave me herpes? That's it. We're breaking up.
But I had an outbreak that one time with that old partner and never had any other outbreaks ever again. And even then, so long as you are taking care of your body, like herpes comes on when you are maybe sick or where you're really stressed. Maybe if you're getting in a lot of sunlight apparently causes some, as well as fatigue. So if you're having any outbreaks or you'd like to take more control over that, you gotta treat yourself and your body right. Also, you should go get checked. I'm just kidding. But then it does follow up at the end there. I wanna make sure we cover it. It says, he accused me of giving it to him, then later told me he lied about contracting it at all. That is toxic.
So that was projection.
So bad.
That was blaming the other one to absolve yourself of fault. So yeah, that's evil.
STIs, STDs, they happen, but you need to be able to communicate about it. And if you have a
Talk it
toxic
through and get
relationship like
treated.
that, it's not going to work out regardless because the toxicity of the person and the lack of communication. The next one from Fen says polygamous monogamist. It's not how that
I'm
works.
trying to figure out what that means.
Well, polygamy is a person who has one or more wives or husbands at the same time. And monogamy is where you just want to have one relationship that's very much centered on one relationship. I can see why that didn't work out.
And Night Elf says, faked his own death. Wow, that is some serious gaslighting right there. I'm dead. Sorry, we need to break up. I'm dead. Don't try to find me.
Update status.
Dad.
That does remind me of one of my relationships, one of my longest relationships. Not my longest. That's you.
I know you're not old enough to have a relationship
Okay,
longer
let me
than the
finish,
one we have.
One of my longer relationships, though, I would describe as, for words, jealous, cheater, stole dog.
Oh, you know what? And that must happen a lot in relationships because the surefire way to know a relationship is in trouble is when a couple gets a dog. Because usually they do so to fill a hole in their relationship for each other.
Well, and in that case, that person was traveling literally every week for work, which never faulted. Like they took care of a lot of our bills because I was still a young college student at the time. But like we got a dog and it was great. And I trained the dog and it was literally my dog. Like I trained that dog from a puppy to like 2.5 years old. And then when the relationship became more centered at home and they got a job in town is when they realized that they really didn't want this relationship. And we tried opening it up, this was my first kink discordant relationship as well. I knew I was kinky and they tried, but they were very shamey about everything. So when all of that kind of coincided, we tried to open up. They got very jealous. They projected a lot. And when I was like, I'm just happy to be in a relationship with you, and they said the same thing, turns out they were actually cheating on me behind my back with our mutual friend that was kind of our threesome at times. And it all went downhill from there. They were snooping through my texts when I wasn't cheating. They were sleeping with this person behind my back. And when I eventually was just like, you have a lot to work through and I can't do this, we broke up. And then they said, by the way, that's my dog. And I never trusted that person again. That was the most toxic relationship I ever had.
My last kink discordant relationship, 8 years in, we got a dog. 1 year later, we were broken up.
Oh.
He took the dog, and I was happy about it because it's the weirdest dog I've
I
ever
miss my
met.
dog. Wait, how describe it in 4 words though? What were the 4 words?
Handful, stoner, unemployed, mood swings.
That's a lot. So it didn't work out, I'm guessing.
No,
And how's the dog?
I don't know. Crazy, probably as crazy as them.
And actually, I was looking into kink discordant relationships. I wanted to find like some stats on like kink discordance, and you will never believe the first thing that comes up on Google.
Your dog?
No, what? Why my dog? No.
Oh, our YouTube show.
Yeah, the episode we actually did with Dan Savage, which is both very lovely, but also very disheartening if that is the best we have for studies on kink discordant relationships.
Well, that's a good one.
But it's not a study, it's just us talking.
That's a good one.
And of course, kink discordance is when there are 2 people in a relationship, but they have different levels of maybe kink or sexual interests. Where I was very, very sexually into the kink, and my partner at the time had no interest or didn't want to do it, but they tried, and our levels just didn't even out. And that's kind of what really led to the breakup. But kink discordance can come from 2 people who are very kinky, but maybe one is hyper kinky, and the other one's just kind of like, I enjoy it to a degree.
I had a kink discordant relationship with someone who was extremely kinky. I was extremely kinky. They were just into latex sex, and I was into a different type of sex. They could not have sex without going full on latex, and that didn't turn me on.
What I learned from that dog relationship, though, was that kink is something that I needed in my life, and it didn't need to be at all times, but it needed to be something that I could communicate with, and I needed to be able to communicate with my partner. And they were not only able to deal with the kink, but they were not able to communicate and were actually doing the opposite of what they said they wanted and cheating on me actively.
So in hindsight, looking at my kink discordant, we could have made it work if we had been polyamorous. They insisted on monogamy, and that wasn't enough for me.
That's fair. And that's totally valid, but you got to be able to communicate about it.
Yeah.
The next evil X comes from Lawrence A. Jones, who says, poo poo love tits.
Poo poo love tits?
Times like these, I wish we could ask follow-up questions, but also I don't want to ask a follow-up question.
They put poo poo on their tits of love?
Next X. And we continue with the confusing X's with Royce Remix, who says, Bi Furious Half Ninja.
Bi Furious Half Ninja. Huh.
I don't.
Did they mean curious? Bi Curious Half Ninja?
Honestly, I like a Bi Furious Half Ninja a little bit better.
Moving on.
That's the karate. What? Come.
No.
And then they even use a picture of Scott Pilgrim, which you still don't know. We should make. I'm gonna make you watch Scott Pilgrim. There's at least 7 evil X's in that movie.
Great.
In video games.
Great.
2 of your favorite things.
Love. Are we gonna Twitch about this?
We could.
Okay.
The next one from Johnny Cockring says, I don't have any evil X's. Lucky you. And goes on to say, I have people whose time with me came to a close.
That's the way to do it. That is.
I like that.
So all relationships come to an end at some point, either by choice or by death. So trying to find a way when they're by choice that both parties can go on and be happy and content. And there must have been something that you loved about that person at one time. So
Or you wouldn't be in a relationship.
exactly. So wish them well. Don't harbor ill feelings, and go on to the next one.
Now, the one big thing that I learned from Dog Cheater Guy was that not only is communication key, but I ended up finding sex positivity. After I broke up with them, I found Dan Savage. I found the book, The Ethical Slut. I went through my own little slutty phase, respectfully and responsibly.
What do you mean went through? I mean, yes.
But I learned that every relationship eventually ends until it doesn't. And by saying that, and it was something that Dan would always say, is like, you don't find the one or one of the many people who could be your one until you do, and it works out and you're able to really feel the relationship work. But you go through a lot of hardship and heartache maybe until you find that one.
And sometimes it's dealing with that hardship and heartache in a healthy way that keeps you together.
What is a healthy way to deal with hardship and heartache?
I tend to just yell at the other person.
Oh, I was gonna say Ben and Jerry's, but what? Wait, what?
Ooh, bring in Ben and Jerry to this.
A threesome with Ben and
And
Jerry.
Jerry.
And then you can scream ice cream.
And Chunky Monkey.
What'd you call me?
Chunky Monkey.
And then you can scream ah. And actually that specific take reminds me of my last long relationship before we got together, really, which, let me see, 4 words, taught me about stigma. It was an older gentleman who was kinky, but he was also HIV positive, and he was undetectable. He was on his meds. It was my first relationship where I didn't actually know what being HIV meant. I was still in my mid 20s, but it was the most responsible, most loving, of course, besides you, and most learned experience that I have ever had with someone in a relationship like that, because I learned about stigma not only from him, but firsthand by dating him, and the amount of people or friends that I thought were friends that would stigmatize me thinking that now I had HIV just because I was sleeping with someone. But it was one of the most healthy relationships in that way, because we were able to communicate, we were able to be kinky, and we had lots of fun. But what I learned from that relationship, which again ended so amicably, we looked at ourselves and we said, you know what, we were both very kinky and we enjoyed our own respective kinks that might not have overlapped all the time. We looked at the relationship and he said, you know, you, being me, are a kinky person. You need to be a kinky person, whereas I just kind of enjoyed doing it. And it was this very odd but eye-opening moment where I was like, yeah, I'm a kinkster. A kinkster is a part of who I am as a person. And while they were never sex shaming, they never shamed me a day in my life, but they were like, I don't get the puppy thing. It's not for me. I enjoy bondage, but like, I don't need it. And you're a kinky person, you know? And so we eventually parted ways after like 4 years or so, but it was just a loving way that we did it too. You don't always have to understand though when a relationship goes bad. And while someone might be an evil ex, and this thread was over 250 people's comments expressing their hatred for a person, so there was a lot of vitriol in it. And again, I hope that helped people to just decompress and get that out of their system in some way.
People feel very rejected at the end of a relationship, and so to deal with that rejection, it's so much easier to blame the other person for everything. And then that kind of leads to anger and hatred. I had an ex who
I can't wait.
He was so upset, and it wasn't me, his partner before me, that had a hollow bedpost and was moving out. And so he put raw frozen shrimp down the bedpost and screwed the knob back up on his poster bed. And his ex, the smell of fish was so bad that they moved from the unit because they couldn't figure out where the smell was coming from. And of course, the smell moved with them.
If I ever cannot figure out a smell in my apartment,
I've never done it. I
swear to God, and maybe Jesus as well. I know your tricks now. I know your tricks. At least, okay, so please don't be that ex. That's vindictive and mean in that regard. Yes, people are terrible, but like, wow. Talk about a fishy relationship. Let's move on though to the last couple exes that exist in this thread. How about Mistress Adriana, who says, wishing I pegged him, and then goes on to say, so I could have been a pain in his ass one last time. With a disclaimer saying anal activity should always be done properly and of course with consent. So like, yes.
Spit, lots of spit.
No. And finally, last but not least, Daddy, what does Ray say about their ex?
Ray says, I can't say any were evil, but for one, I used to say his issues have issues.
Oh, wow. Oh my God, Ray, are you okay?
You needed a whole subscription for that one.
Emphasis on whole. Baggage comes in many shapes, sizes, and forms. Sometimes you can't be the one that packs those bags for someone, and their issues might have issues, but we're complicated beings out here, y'all.
All you can do is take care of yourself and your behavior.
And just offer the best you that you can to your partner and hope that they do the same. Again, we've been through many, many relationships that didn't end super well, but every once in a while you have a relationship that ends well and you still part ways because you learned a lot in that relationship.
Have you ever had a relationship that got violent?
No, never.
I've had that 3 times. Soup thrown at my car.
Soup?
Car window smash.
Oh my God.
Cops call.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, no, not good.
No, I've never even had a relationship that turned into yelling because I'm just not a violent person. And to that, like, please make sure that if you're having a hard time, again, if you're having issues, like we have a hotline that you can, the website down below that you can check out if you ever need help. But like, if you have someone that's going through a hardship like that, sometimes friends are the best way, or just confidants that are able to step in and just be supportive. Like, I've had plenty of friends that had bad relationships, and while I can't tell them that it's a bad relationship, I can actively listen. I can tell them what bad behaviors I see, and I can provide at least an ear just for someone to vent.
And everyone gets upset in a relationship. There are things that irk us. Even the puppy irks me sometimes. Rarely. But when it turns to full-blown anger and
baggage,
rage.
baggage, let's unpack that. No, let's unpack that last bag. Let me grab, wait, where's my bags? Here, look, there's a, oh my God, it's perfect actually. Not even intentional. Here's a grumpy daddy bag. Let's unpack that. Let's unpack that. What's in there that you need to?
Skittle? I'm just gonna skittle you. Skedaddle. No, but as I was saying, when being upset turns to anger and rage, those are huge red flags that you need to evaluate, get mental health for, or get professional help for, or see someone about, or get out of the relationship.
Therapy is not a bad thing, and it's not a sign of you failing. Therapy is something that is good and can help you unpack those bags in a healthy way with someone who is a professional in that area. So while we are not professional therapists, we are sex-having, kinky people who have not only been asked a number of these questions before about relationships, but have been through our own relationships and dealt with a
And
good...
fucked up several times.
Yeah, we're not perfect. I need that to be clear.
Yeah.
I know that my stories and my sides of every story for my relationships today might be my own, but I'm sure there were times where I was obnoxious and a little shit as well.
And thankfully, our exes don't have a microphone. Actually, one of my fastest and quickest breakup ever was when 3 months into dating, I told them I did porn.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't know why, because I wasn't really hiding it. It just kind of occurred to me, because I wasn't actively doing porn when we were dating, but I said, oh, you know, in college I did some porn, and they're like, "Oh." They went white as a ghost, and they were already white. They went even whiter. They're from Seattle. He was just so uptight, and he just broke up with me on the spot and walked away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Gross.
it's okay. I put fish in his bed.
Stop. Speaking of beds, if you'd like to check out your own beds, please check out Helix Sleep again in the comments down below. But whether you have an evil ex or just having an amicable breakup, always have a safe word. And today's safe word, Daddy, is
Therapy.
Oh, okay. That'll stop a scene. That will stop a scene. Regardless though, leave a comment down below of your evil ex. Let us know if you enjoyed this episode or maybe something you might have learned from an ex in the past.
And if you like ringing bells, ring that bell down below to be notified of the next one.
Don't forget to subscribe to What's the Safe Word, and we will see y'all next time.
Bye.
Okay, but if you were to put fish in your partner's bed, which one would you choose?
Snapper.
Oh God. Not like a piranha.
Like a piranha.
Ooh, I would choose something kind of like wiggly, like an octopus.
Like a crab.
Crabs aren't wiggly.
They have pinchers though.
They're pinchy.
They're pinchy.
Yeah.
Ow.
I'm about to break up.
That's it. We're getting a dog.
But I want a dog.
I know.